important one, and I think it should actually be at every single step of the steps that I've mentioned, is to trust your guts, right? Trust your instincts. We have instincts for a reason, right? When your gut tells you something is too good to be true, believe it, right? If it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true, right? Run away if anything. If your instincts tell you, I'm about to go into something that maybe is too cheap, or maybe they're promising me they're going to be able to do it very quickly, trust your instinct and not pull the trigger, right? This is Eric, and welcome to Ghana Bakweku YouTube channel, where we document the building process for our dream home in Ghana, West Africa. We hope that you find the content we share helpful, encouraging, and hopefully educating as well. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is Eric, aka Ghana Bakweku. I hope you guys are all doing fine. Thank you to everyone who subscribed to our channel. For those who keep watching and haven't subscribed, please pause this video right here. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. I'll wait for you so we can continue. All right, thank you. So this is a video that I've been thinking about for a bit, because I've had a few questions, over the years asked about them, about this particular topic, and I actually got asked again this week, and that is, I know why it's the hot topic right now. Really, it's about avoiding scam, as you saw in the title. How do you avoid being scammed, right? And it's something that is really, really tricky, especially for those of us who are building in the diaspora. It is not easy to go through this without falling, prey to some, dubious person or company. It could even be a family member. I try to stay away from, topics like this, because the likelihood is a name will be mentioned, because of something that, maybe some story that I've heard, some company doing something. But in light of things that have been happening lately, I figured, why not do this now and get it out of the way? Because I've been asked it, and, I've been asked to, a couple of people have asked me if I could do a video on this to share my views on it. How I navigate stuff like that. And, just a disclaimer, like I'm not immune to, being duped, right? It's just that, when you've gotten bitten once, you kind of learn how to walk the fine line. And so what I have is just my ideas on how, you can, get yourself, in a situation that is not, hopefully you're not likely to be duped, right? So let's get into it. What I've done is I've basically written down some, a few things, and I'll try to remember them. Actually, you know what? Why write it down and not read? So I'm going to read, each topic, and I'll put it on the screen as well. Each point, and then I'll expand on it as we go. So how do you avoid being scammed? The first thing you have to do is research, right? Research, and then research your own research, right? It's important because, especially with, the latest craze of, a lot of us building in Ghana and people showing a lot of, building videos on YouTube and somewhere else on the internet, anywhere else on the internet, there is this, sense of, oh, let's do it now. Let's get, a place in Ghana or somewhere in Africa, because now I'll stay with Ghana, because Ghana has become the hot place now, right? For me, Ghana has always been the gateway, at least to the West African sub-region. But I always feel like Ghana is, to me, the heart, of the continent. By sheer placement, it almost feels like, we're close to what will be, I think, the heart of the continent. But anyway, so you have to make sure you're doing your research, because even though there are really good companies out there who are trustworthy, right, in any space where good companies or good people, right, with good intention are, there'll be dubious people, right, who are trying to, milk someone, of their hard-earned money. So I'll say, do your research, right? Do your research. Because if you don't research the company that you're trying to go with or the person that you're about to deal with, you will regret it, right? So the first one is research. It is important. Don't do anything, especially if you're abroad. Don't do anything without research that makes you feel good about the next step you're about to make. Because a lot of these decisions that we make, we're talking about, hundreds of thousands, at the end of it. If you're lucky, you probably will lose like tens of thousands. But just imagine for someone who's paid everything, for a building that you're supposed to own and then not have the building, right? Anyway, sorry, I didn't want to get out of line, but these are some things that will come up later on. Anyway, so after the first one, which is research, you go to the second point that I put down, which is verify, right? So even the research is good. You do the research, you find every information that you want to find about any company, you need to verify. The reason why you have to do that is this. Any company can put any information on the net, right? So, and not everything you see on the internet is true, right? So you have to do your own verification of whatever you read, right? Or whatever you found, or whatever you got shown, or whatever you got told. Verify it, right? Even if someone tells you, oh, this land is mine, you need to verify it. How do you verify, an area that someone says, I'm going to be able to sell you a plot of land here, or some estate developer says, this area is our land and we're developing here. The way you do that is you get a surveyor, you pay a little bit of money, you get a surveyor, you go and do a land title search, right? Because if you pay a surveyor and do a land title search and the search ends up being, goes not in the favor of what you wanted, where the land belongs to someone, not the person who you've been dealing with, guess what? You lost money, but you lost less money than you would have if you hadn't done the verification. So that's important. Verify. Another one, the third one that I wrote down is look at more than one location or builder, right? The reason why you have to look at more than one location or builder is simple, right? If you put all your eggs in one basket, things happen, right? Sometimes when you're looking, you're looking at something and you want it so bad, the tendency is that you show your hand, right? So the best thing to do is to be looking at various other places. Don't settle on just one spot, right? For example, you can look at land in East Legon Hills. You can look at land, in, Adenta, Amarhia, Buri, Kaswa, wherever, right? Look at land in different places where, you would want to be, right? Look at land in different places. As long as it's a place that you would want to live, you can look at lands in those places. And what that will do for you is that it basically spreads your interest in multiple places, which means that you're going to do your due diligence properly, right? And you're not going to go off showing someone that you're desperate to buy land before you leave in 2 weeks, and then they'll swindle you, right? So that's also important. One that I did not put on here, but that's also important based on what I just talked about, the 2 weeks part, is to not rush to buy anything, right? Do not rush to buy anything. Don't go to Ghana, in December when you're going to party and get excited and decide to buy land before you leave, right? You might not have the time to do all the checks you need to do. So keep that in mind. That was a bonus one. Number 4 is to, especially if you're dealing with like a real estate developer, try your best to ask them to take you to other buildings that they've done. That does 2 things for you. 1, it shows you legitimacy that the project is theirs, and 2, it shows you the quality of the build that they can put together, right? But all of this is tied in with the verify, because anyone can take you anywhere, right? In Ghana, all you have to do is have guts. If you're bold enough, you can enter into someone's gated community, and walk your way in, right? And show someone around like you own something, even though you don't, just because you have the guts, right? So even though someone says, okay, this is the project I've done before, this is phase whatever of whatever project, Make sure you're dealing with the right people, because anyone can pretend to be someone else. Number 5 is to, avoid cash payments, right? Because, you want to leave a paper trail. You want to leave a paper trail. If you do not, someone is going to tell you, I don't know you, right? Someone is going to tell you, I don't know you, and you don't want to be in that situation. So always avoid doing cash transactions. If that is the only option you have to do a cash transaction, right? We'll go on to the next one, which is film everything, right? Film everything. Film the exchange of hands, have an audio that shows that money went from one hand to someone else's hand, have the faces being there, so you have proof, right? When you do that video, send it to someone else so you have, copies elsewhere, right? Your phone can go missing, for example, right? Share it to some app, maybe OneDrive. I'm not being sponsored by OneDrive. I'm just mentioning it because something that I use. But save the footage somewhere else, some in the cloud somewhere, right? So you can get access to it in case your phone got missing, right? Or the camera that you used got missing. Right, so that's that one. And then we'll go to number 7 is do not be pressured. Don't let anyone pressure you to buy land, buildings, anything, right? Because any decision that you're going to make in a haste, especially like the most important and the most expensive investment you can ever make, if you feel pressured or if you succumb to pressure, you probably are going to make a mistake, right? So don't be pressured. And then we'll go to number 8, which is stay involved, right? If you decide to go with it, make sure you're involved every step of the way, right? Otherwise, someone is going to show you foundation and then not continue doing the work because you stopped getting involved. And then months later, you're still trying to find, where the person you were talking to is. And because you lost contact, you don't have them anymore. So be involved in every step of the process. If they're building a house for you, if you can and you're on the land, you should be able to go to the property, your potential, your future house, your future project, your future property, anytime that you want, right? I don't think anyone can tell you to not come visit your own site, right? So be involved. We'll go to number 9, which is very important, is before money exchanges hands, have a clear contract. Take the contract, read it, put it away, walk away from it, right? Because the tendency is, it's almost like a kid on Christmas Day, right? Every toy is the nicest toy they've gotten until they walk away from it and then realize that they don't want to play with that particular one anymore, right? So if you have a contract, and you read it and everything looks good, put it aside, walk away from it, a couple of days, come back to it, right? And that ties in with not being pressured, right? If you can walk away from it, then you can come back to it with the hazy lenses from excitement taken off, and you can actually clear-mindedly take your time, look through it, make sure that a contract is what you want and everything that you wanted is in there. And if amendments have to be made, that is the time to get them made before you actually pay for anything, right? So that is number 9. But the last one and the very, very, very important one, and I think it should actually be at every single step of the steps that I've mentioned, is to trust your guts, right? Trust your instincts. We have instincts for a reason, right? When your gut tells you something is too good to be true, believe it, right? If it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true, right? Run away if anything. If your instincts tell you, I'm about to go into something that maybe is too cheap, or maybe they're promising me they're going to be able to do it very quickly, trust your instinct and not pull the trigger, right? So, I'll end it here. Those are my 10 tips, right? To do your best to not, get scammed, to avoid being scammed. Those are my 10. I'm pretty sure there are others that I didn't mention, but I feel like if you do these 10 things, you have a better chance of not losing money, right? Your hard-earned money, and not, having a heartache from, someone, taking you for a ride. right? Once again, for everyone who's been impacted by some scammer or some business project or some building project that hasn't gotten what they were promised, hopefully it's just a matter of not getting it yet, right? Rather than losing it forever. And I fear these things because the court system in Ghana gets drawn out and you're going to lose more money than you've already lost doing this battle in court. Believe me, right? So you don't want to even start the court process. So if you can do these things and do it well, make sure, everything is in line, then you avoid being one that falls prey to one of these, unscrupulous people, right? Once again, for anyone who's gone through or going through it at the moment, especially, when we believe, influencers on YouTube, who are also doing a good job trusting that the person who invited them to come and talk about, whatever project, doing it in good faith, thinking that the people are doing what they promised they would do, we follow them thinking that they've done their homework. They are not, most of the people that we follow on YouTube, are not, Wodemaya and whomever else. They're not building experts, right? They're just celebrities. They have a good following. That's why these companies hire them, because of their viewership, right? They're not hiring someone on YouTube who has 2 viewers or 2 subscribers to do that. That should tell you that they're looking for influencers, people who they can get their content to through quickly, right? So I wouldn't really blame, any one of those people. Yes, fine, they have to do their due diligence so that, their reputation is not attached to some quote unquote scammer. But the onus is on us. We have to do our own research, right? We can't blame someone for, or solely for leading us a certain way, right? The onus always is on us to make sure that we are not getting scammed, right? I'll end it here. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please help us out. Hit the subscribe button. Get this content to a lot of people. Hopefully, this video will get somewhere that might help someone before they pull a trigger that might lose their money. All right. Thank you once again for watching this. We'll talk again later. Bye-bye.